Hello and welcome to Postgrad Festivals 2022. This is the first of 4 festivals that will take place over the next 12 months, ranging from this week's festival, which will be UK focused, all the way up to funding and scholarships to studying in the EU in the winter. Now, just a reminder that this session is live, and if you are watching either on the Zoom platform or on social media via Facebook or LinkedIn today, that there is a Q&A session at the end of the presentation from Chevening. And if you do have any questions, please use the Q&A facility or chat facility if you're on Zoom, and the messenger facility on either LinkedIn or Facebook. And just a quiet reminder that if you are watching on demand, that obviously you cannot send any questions through, and to direct your questions through to either ourselves, Postgrad Solution, or Chevening Direct. Now, before I hand over to Chevening, just to explain a little bit more about their scholarships and why studying in the UK is so key, I'd like to just talk to you about what's going to happen not only today but throughout the week, as well as why you should study in the UK. So I've mentioned already we'll have a presentation from Chevening, a bit of information after that from Postgrad.com, an opportunity for all students watching live and on demand to win a £500 bursary that Postgrad Solutions kindly award to 15 different students throughout the year, as well as what is coming up in the rest of the week. Now, why should you study in the UK? Now, first and foremost, there are globally recognized universities, top 10 universities all around the world. A fantastic welcoming culture. I think we can all agree, if you live in the UK, if you have been to the UK, it's a fantastic place to study, based on the fact that wherever you go, whether you're in the major cities or you're in one of the quieter towns and villages, there are different nationalities and different cultures wherever you look. Fantastic travel connections, an opportunity for you to improve your English, a high rate of employability, which is because of all the things I've just mentioned above. And probably one of the most important things, which is more relevant than anything right now, is the easing or no COVID restrictions in the UK. Now, in the last couple of months, we are learning to live with COVID rather than reacting to catching COVID, which means that there are no masks, there are no restrictions in terms of if you catch COVID, you are not bound to stay at home and isolate from a period of days. That is all subject to change, of course, depending on the success of living with COVID over the next 12 months. So head over to postgrad.com if you're not sure in any of that. If there's any questions, any issues that you might have, let us know. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Steph Bentely. She is the Communications Manager at the Chevening Scholarships Programme. Steph will be going through a presentation, and then I'll be back for the Q&A at the end of that. Steph, over to you. See you in a bit.
Thanks very much. Right, hello everybody. So my name's Steph Bentely. I'm the Communications Manager at Chevening, and I'm here to talk to you today just to share a little bit about what Chevening scholarships are. So firstly, the Chevening scholarships are the UK government's global scholarships programme. They're funded by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, as well as other partner organisations, and are available in over 160 countries and territories around the world. And they support 1-year fully funded master's degrees in any subjects and at any UK university. So this very short video will just let you hear from other scholars about why you should apply for Chevening.
The thing I've enjoyed the most about Chevening is definitely meeting people. They're incredibly diverse, meeting people from different countries, different walks of life, from different fields, and all coming together to change the world.
We spend time with each other, share our experiences, the skills that we gained, and the knowledge that we learned from our respective programs.
So it has been an awesome experience for me, not just making friends, but also learning from world-class experts at the University of Birmingham.
The scholarship program has helped me achieve one, I think, is confidence in myself to do what I want to do, to be able to build projects that can help more people.
I've been able to have a lecturer who is working deep in areas of geography in children and youth, something that I would not have gotten if I was still at home.
As a student studying international relations, now I understand further about government, how the international system works and functions, and the areas of where I can help.
The scholarship has helped me to achieve one of my long-lasting goal, which is to obtain my master's in clinical pharmacology at one of the best universities which I could have imagined to complete it from.
I'm incredibly grateful to be able to study this degree, which I wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
If you identify yourself as a young leader who is aspiring to make a significant change in your country, whether at the local level, community level, even at the world at large, Chevening is the scholarship I recommend you to apply for.
Once you graduate as a Chevener, you always become a Chevener, and I think that's the main core thing.
Join us!
Join us!
Join us.
Join us!
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.
So why should you apply for Chevening? So Chevening scholarships are aimed at passionate people who are passionate about creating positive change in their home countries. So you need to be good at building relationships, you need to be resilient and really determined, and also have a short, mid and long-term plan for achieving your career goals. Chevening scholars tend to rise to prominent positions in their countries and within their chosen fields. And here's just a real quick video about our eligibility criteria. So what does the Chevening scholarship actually cover? So you'll get fully covered tuition fees. There is a global Chevening fee cap of £22,000 for master's degrees, but that should cover any master's degree in the UK. You'll also get a living allowance at a set rate, in economy return flight to the UK, as well as additional grants to cover kind of essential expenditure while you're here. Other benefits of a Chevening scholarship, though, you're invited to a vast programme of exclusive networking events, talks, trips across the UK, and you'll also get lots of volunteering opportunities. And on graduating, crucially, you'll join over 50,000 other Chevening alumni who together form an influential and highly regarded global network. Other exclusive opportunities in recent years have included an internship at the BBC World Service, volunteering opportunities, as I've already mentioned, and a Chevening treasure hunt competition where you all kind of get together and try to find places and items around the UK first. The Chevening alumni community, so Chevening's been running since 1983, and Chevening alumni obviously form the backbone of the programme. As I've already mentioned, there's 50,000 Chevening alumni around the world, and they constitute a highly regarded global network of skilled professionals, and they work in a whole range of fields, from kind of helping to tackle climate change, championing gender equality, and they also work in journalism, business, law, and many other fields. So the application timeline, applications tend to take about 8 months from when you apply to Chevening to actually starting on your course within the UK. So applications tend to open in August every year, and the application period is about 3 months long, tends to close at the beginning of November, and that's when independent reading committees will assess applications before you'll be invited to interview, and the interview periods take place between February and April. The announcement of results tends to happen in the June, and then successful applicants arrive in the UK to start their Chevening year in the September-October time. So you'll find all the information you need to know about eligibility, timelines, and the online application system on our website at chevening.org/apply. Here are just some of the the main criteria that we'll be looking for from you in your interview. So we want to know that you have really good leadership and influencing skills, So any examples you can think of where you've led or influenced somebody to bring them round to your ways of thinking will be a really good place to start. We want to know how you've thought about how you'll use the networks you build while you're in the UK to kind of further your career goals and make a positive impact back home. We want to hear about why you want to study in the UK. What is it about the UK that really draws your attention? And we'll also want to hear about your career plan, so what your short, mid and long-term career goals are and how they won't only benefit you, but they'll benefit your home country too. So I'm just going to finish just to share some of our kind of social media stats with you. And here are our social media handles. So chevening.org is where you'll find all the information you could possibly ever need to know about Chevening. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram at Chevening FCDO, and also on LinkedIn, we've got a Chevening Awards page there. And that's it from me. Any questions?
Thank you, Steph. Very insightful, very prompt as well. So we are going to engage in a Q&A session right now. There have been, as you know, some questions that have already come in. So we will endeavour to get through those first, and then any questions that have been asked throughout the session so far, we will also answer them as well. Okay, so I suppose I should begin with what I feel is the most important question, which is what are the most common questions to get asked during a Chevening interview, and how can you prepare for that, both obviously in a physical and mental state?
Yeah, so we don't tend to actually share the actual interview questions we ask, but as I kind of mentioned there, there's those 4 key criteria that we look out for. So and what we'll be looking for are kind of really concrete examples of those to demonstrate that experience. So what's the time where you have influenced someone to bring them around to your ways of thinking, and what was the result of that? And why do you want to think really, really hard about why you want to study in the UK and not anywhere else? So what is it about the UK that draws your attention? And also that point about having a short, mid and long term, very realistic and achievable career plan is also something that we'll be really looking for. So just really thinking about those questions and having answers to those questions will definitely hold you in good stead for the Chevening interview.
Of course, and I'm going to keep on the theme of the students itself, because I think it's really important. If you are a student coming to the UK, you know exactly the criteria, and I know you've been through it already, but I want to re-emphasize that. So who is eligible to apply for a Chevening scholarship? Can anyone in the UK, or can you apply for any UK university, and do you have favourite partners? Obviously, we work as Postgrad.com. We actually provide the power search for and the core search for the Chevening scholarship. So we have plenty of students come through our website and through our search facility looking for courses. But are there any institutions in particular that you favour and would suggest that you look at first?
So anyone can apply for Chevening within those eligibility criteria that I've kind of already mentioned, but there's no upper age limit. As long as you're from a Chevening country or territory, which basically covers the whole world other than America, but near enough, then you can apply for any course in any UK university. We have there are no favourites. Obviously, Chevening does partner with some universities, but as far as applications go, whether you apply for one or another, there'll be, it doesn't give you any greater chance of getting in or not. So you really can apply for any UK university in any course.
Of course, and can you apply more than once as well? So yeah, as you can imagine, I think this question has come in actually on the Q&A is how many students actually apply, and I think that's an important point that you might miss out. They offer thousands of scholarships every year, which is very generous of you in itself. But what happens if you miss out? Can you reapply? What happens if you apply and you actually gain the scholarship but never actually fulfill the requirements? Can you then reapply?
Yeah, so actually there is absolutely no harm in reapplying for Chevening multiple times. You would never be, it wouldn't reflect badly on you if you didn't get in once. And if anything, we love our Chevening scholars to persevere and show real determination. So there are times when applicants have really good credentials, but they just need to meet that 2-year work experience criteria, for example. And so they come back and they apply again. And we've got scholars who applied sort of 3-4 times who end up being really successful and get in and get awarded a scholarship. As you've mentioned, also, we get tens of.
Sorry to cut you off there, Steph. So we've had a question from Peter come in, just asking, so if he's had a Chevening scholarship before as well, can he then reapply for another one? So when you've had one, is that it? You know, you won't have an opportunity to then go for another Chevening scholar?
Unfortunately, you can only have one Chevening scholarship, and you're already, once you've been offered an award and accepted one, you can't reapply again. No, that is the time where you can only ever have one government funded scholarship.
Okay. Another question that came in before, and I think it's a really good question actually. I think I mentioned it to you before that if you're a student, that you mentioned it covers pretty much the whole globe, the Chevening, apart from the States. So if you were born in the USA, let's say, and then you live in China, are you then eligible, or is it your country of birth where they take into account, or is it where you currently live?
I will double check that. I think it's where as long as you've got permanent residency somewhere, I think you are eligible, but I will double check that and get back.
So, you know, all these questions that have come in, whether or not you're watching live or whether you've asked a question before and you'll catch up later, you know, Steph will do her best to reach out to you afterwards, as will we. So don't worry if the question hasn't been answered. You know, we can't know everything. And we will definitely research things and double check and get the right answer for you. Steph, about the timeline as well, your website states 8 months from applying all the way up to being successful. Is there any flexibility on that? Is it a case of, you know, if all things go well, it could be within 4 or 5 months, or is it a case of typically 8 months is how long it takes?
It won't take any less time than 8 months, and that will be roughly how long it will take, because as I kind of mentioned in my presentation, there are certain months it takes time. We get generally between 55 and 65,000 applications every year, and so it obviously takes a long time to sift through that, and we have a very fair and transparent kind of application process, and we give everybody equal opportunity, and so all of that takes time. But yeah, so 8 months is roughly how long it will take.
Of course, and this is a question from me, I suppose. You mentioned 55,000, I think you just mentioned now, students that apply roughly. How many of those actually enroll onto the scholarship scheme?
Anything between 1,300 and 1,600 every year. So it's about 3.5% of applicants are successful.
Yeah. Okay, and I suppose the important point there would be for students that you've re-emphasised that you can reapply again. You know, don't feel downhearted if you miss this year, you might get in next year. And also as well, there's millions of other opportunities. You can, you know, look at postgrad.com, go onto the website. I'm sure Chevening will happily give you other opportunities if you fail to meet the criteria. Ultimately, the scholarship scheme is here to help you. And if you need any help or any issues, or, you know, any issues answering or questions answering, they're there to help. A couple more questions, or 2 or 3 more questions. Are all the interviews at the moment, because of how COVID has been, I've mentioned obviously in the UK it's better now, but if you are from a country that has strong COVID restrictions, such as China still, is everything being done face-to-face still? Is it all being done via Zoom? How does that work for your interview?
Interviews it will be completely up to the British embassies abroad and following their own kind of COVID guidelines that are in place. I think the majority of interviews are being held online. So there are lots of accommodations for local COVID guidance, and that shouldn't stop anybody from being able to attend their interview.
Yeah. And do you think that's affected students? That was one of the questions that I had again, that from a student perspective, do you think it's affected their wanting to apply for a scholarship? Do you think that it's affected their mindset, and they've gone, oh, I'm not sure I want to go to the UK, I'm not sure I can travel, what about if I've got to isolate? And, you know, I know it's not the rules now, but over the last couple of years, have you seen a shift in mentality, or is it a case of numbers are still high, people are still looking to apply even over the COVID years?
Numbers for applications are still high. Obviously, COVID has impacted everybody around the world, and there's no getting around that. But the scholars that we've spoken to that were here last year during kind of lockdowns, all of them, although the experience was no doubt slightly different, we moved on, like UK universities around the country, kind of adopted hybrid learning models. And from what we hear from scholars, they still have managed to have a really great time, still connected with others. And most of them still, I think it was something like 96% of them still said that they were getting the skills and knowledge that they needed from their time here. So I suppose as everybody is, we're just adapting to the circumstances, but we're fortunate enough now to be kind of hopefully coming out of the other side of the pandemic in the UK at least. So hopefully we'll kind of get back to some sense of normality for next year.
Fingers crossed, and hopefully that's the case, not just for the UK, but for the rest of the world as well. A question that's come through from Alexandra is obviously if you've gone for the first application and you've been unsuccessful, do you provide feedback? Is it a case of you say where you went wrong? So you've had the interview, it didn't work, these are the reasons why, so that when you come back for your second application, you can come back better and stronger?
Yeah, so every year we collate some high-level themes around, generally speaking, where applicants might have gone wrong in their interview, and that's based on reading committee feedback. But on an individual level, you are also able to request feedback from your panel, from your interview panel, and they will provide kind of more in-depth feedback if you ask for it.
And I know it's very difficult as well, but is there a general rule of thumb? Is there one generic rule that you would say, please stick to, because that will help so much? Because, what we see in a lot of people is, yes, people will be nervous. People will, will think, what if I did this right? What if I did this differently? But is there something that you could say, this is what I would recommend that you stick to as much as possible? It could even be true to yourself, but while I appreciate everything's personal, it's all down to them and how they behave and their attributes. Is there anything that you can recommend?
My top recommendation is just to show how passionate you are about making a positive change in your home country. And when you're authentically enthusiastic about something, that really comes across, and to show that you've really thought about it, about what it is you want to achieve. And how you're going to get there. And you don't have to have it all figured out by any means. I don't think any of us have it all figured out all of the time, but just to show that real enthusiasm for what you're trying to achieve.
Okay, there's been some questions come through which I will just answer on your behalf quickly. So we've had someone ask how many awards will Chevening be making in the next year. I think Steph's answered it's anywhere between 1,300 and 1,600, I think you mentioned earlier. So I'd imagine that'll be a rough ballpark figure. Questions that are personal to yourself, I will allow Steph to reach out to you afterwards. So please don't be offended if we don't answer that question live in the session. We just feel it's probably a little bit better for Steph to reach out to you afterwards. And what we'll do is we'll finish on one last question, Steph, and it's come from Mary. Does Chevening Scholarship cover PhD? Now, that's an important question. Is there any courses that it doesn't cover? Does it cover all aspects of courses? Presumably studying in the UK is obviously the main fundamental reason you're looking to study and looking to apply, but what are you looking for? Is there anything that is a no-go?
Yeah, unfortunately, Chevening scholarships do not cover PhDs. They will only cover 12-month master's degrees. So master's degrees that are longer than 12 months won't be covered by a Chevening scholarship, but any master's degree that is up to a year long, you're eligible to apply for.
Cool. And as I know I said last one, but I think this is important as well. Talk to me about the application procedure. So you're a student now that has come on, you're watching this session, and you go, this sounds brilliant, I really want to apply. Talk to me the next steps. What do I do? Do I go to the Chevening website? Do I go to postgrad.com, which I know you don't do, but tell the student where they should go and what the next steps.
Yeah, so my recommendation would be go to chevening.org, make sure you're fully up to speed about what you need to do between now and August when applications open. So go out, get some work experience, really boost your CV. And then in August, be ready to apply. And my other recommendation, my top tip is to make sure you get your application in early. Don't leave it to the last minute in November, because we do tend to get a surge of applications just as applications close. And obviously, it's much better just to get it in a little bit early.
Of course, and of course, I mentioned the 8 months earlier. The sooner it's done, the sooner that period of time can start. So it makes total sense. For everybody watching live, everybody watching on demand, I'm sorry, we will end the live Q&A there. There are loads of questions streaming in, but I'm just conscious of A, time, and B, a lot of the questions are quite personal. So Steph will definitely reach out to you afterwards. Steph will have a list of all the questions that have come through, along with those that have watched live and on social media as well. But for now, Steph, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll see you in future festivals as well. But for the time being, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye.
So just before the session ends, I just want to talk to you about what Postgrad.com offers. For those of you watching that are new to Postgrad.com, you won't know this yet. So over 10 million students have used our website to find their perfect postgraduate program. It's one of the top websites around the globe now to actually look and search for a course around the globe. We've got over 200 countries for you to study at. We've got great partnerships with the likes of high international scholarship providers such as Chevening, just mentioned then, Marshall Scholarships as well, which is the US equivalent of Chevening. The best advice, making it the one-stop shop for everything PG, ranging from visas, career support, English language testing, and so much more. So please head over to postgrad.com for more information. We've got dedicated webinar platforms, podcast channels as well, soon to be launched within this market. So keep an eye out for all of these things happening over the next 12 months, and an opportunity as well for you to apply for one of our £500 bursaries that Postgrad Solutions very kindly reward 15 different students throughout each year. Now, who can apply? Anyone from anywhere around the world. So as long as you are a student that is applying for a course, and then you are enrolled after that, we will then top up the tuition fees by £500 via cheque or online transfer to the university. Anyone from anywhere around the world can apply, and it doesn't affect any other funding that you may apply for, whether that be Chevening, whether that be any other funding within the UK on an international scale. So please, everybody apply, get it through as quickly as you can, and it is unlimited every year. So please do let us know. What's coming up for the rest of the week then? So we do have University of Liverpool, which is an online learning special coming up in roughly 25 minutes. We will have University of Derby tomorrow, as well as a digital and creative arts special with creative arts. Wednesday, we'll see us go to Bolton University and then the University of Reading, which will be a Henley Business School special, always a popular one every year. Thursday, we'll have a social sciences special with the University of Bristol. And then on Friday, we will wrap things up with Fresh Accommodation, who will be talking you through some of their properties around some key UK cities over the hour-long session on Friday. But for now, thank you very much. A huge thank you to you all for watching, whether that's on Zoom, whether that be on Facebook, LinkedIn, or even on demand. Massive thank you to for Chevening, making this session happening. To make this happen, should I say. Steph, it's been fantastic. So a huge thank you to you personally. Steph will reach out to you, as will we after the session. If you have any questions, please do let us know. And please stay tuned for the 12 p.m. session, or 25 minutes time session with the University of Liverpool, which everybody will or should have received a link for. But for now, thank you very much. And we will see you in roughly 25 minutes. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.